What if I told you that there was an NBA star who battled addiction, partied his way through nearly $100 million, and lived with zero discipline, yet still outplayed everyone? Yes, Lamar Odom became a two-time champion, sixth man of the year, and one of Kobe Bryant's most respected teammates, all while his life was spiraling completely out of control. But everything changed in 2015 when he collapsed, suffering 6 heart attacks and 12 strokes in a near-death experience that almost ended it all. So, how did a player with such a chaotic life continue performing at the highest level? And how did he turn that collapse into a second chance at life? To find out, we have to go back to South Jamaica, Queens in the 1980s, where it all began. Lamar Odom, who had been raised solo by his mother, Kathy Mercer, due to Odom's father, Joe, struggling like many in South Jamaica, Queens at that time with a heroin addiction. However, Kathy provided everything a young Lamar needed.
Well, my mother was, she was really caring, and she cared about people. A really nice smile.
You know, when I was about 11 years old, she gave me this speech, you know, that I could be, that I was special, or that I could be, you know, whatever I wanted to be and do whatever I wanted to do.
And again, like many others in New York, Odom grew up on the blacktop courts, dreaming of one day making it to the highest stage of basketball.
I'm one of those people that knew what I wanted to do when I was 9 years old. You know, that I saw it. I saw myself winning the NBA championship.
Lamar, who towered over his peers whilst retaining an elite handle.
I was always one of the taller kids, but handling the ball and all that was just like a gift from God. And then, you know, where we come from in New York,
that's what y'all do.
Yeah, your handle is everything. That's the only way you're going to be able to stay on the court.
Idolized another tall point guard, Magic Johnson. Yet, as Odom was approaching his freshman year in high school, everything took a tragic turn in his life.
I remember going to see her, and I remember how the cancer just ravaged her body. You know, her face was so swollen, she was bleeding out of her mouth, and she kept saying, Muka, Muka, the nickname she used to call me.
Kathy had lost her battle with cancer.
I lost my best friend that day.
Odom would never be the same. But he sought solace where he'd always found it.
When my mom's passed away, I lost all interest in schoolwork. But I had to rock, though. Get me through it.
His grandmother, Mildred Mercer, then took care of Lamar. However, as Odom's height and status across the basketball world grew, being ranked as either the #1 or #2 prospect in his class, the pair faced a new problem.
You know, my grandmother raised me, but a 72-year-old lady, she don't know about how crazy and nasty the recruiting process for a high school kid can be, or a college kid. So I basically felt like I had to raise myself up to some point.
But Lamar eventually managed, briefly considering UCLA before accepting a scholarship to UNLV to begin his collegiate career. However, after a Sports Illustrated article brought to light a sudden jump in test scores between his high school average and SAT,
but scored too high.
Oh, really?
That took it.
You did too good.
Took it. Scored way too high. I cheated. I tried my best to cheat it, but I think I could have passed it though.
Odom was presented yet another hurdle. Stripped of his scholarship, Odom opted to follow through on his initial plan.
Jim Harrick, because I was gonna go to UCLA.
That's right. He got
fired.
That's right.
He got fired on my birthday. The year before. Crazy. By that time, I ain't really trust too many people. You know what I'm saying? And he had like a, down-to-earth mentality of the way he looked at life. You feel me? I done been through the ringer. So I wanted to go somewhere where I could trust somebody.
Once he had spent a year at Rhode Island sorting out his academics, Lamar was ready to show America that he was certainly the #1 choice in the 1999 NBA draft. A goal which, after Odom at 6'10", averaged 17.6 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks per game, which left NBA scouts stunned at how the New Yorker rebounded like a center, but attacked defenses like a guard, saw Lamar enter the 1999 draft ranked as the top small forward. Yet, after some interviews,
Jerry Krause, God bless him, I was having dinner with him, and he asked me, did I have problems on the court concentrating because my father was HIV positive? My father never had a discussion with me before. Like, I didn't know whether to be offended or like give him the question he wanted, so I kind of like just was like a to him the interview, like blew it.
And pre-draft workouts going wrong.
I was so nervous. My Vancouver workout, I'm working out for Vancouver. Boom, shooting the ball, shooting. Boom, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, hold up.
You threw
4.
up? Boy, I had to give it up. Call 1-800-EARL. In Vancouver.
Threw up right there. Kept going though. Now we don't even gotta clean it up. Let's not even clean it up. Leave it there. Kept the geezer going. Like y'all gonna pick me.
Odom's top pick dreams slipped away, but not entirely.
The Los Angeles Clippers select Lamar Odom from the University of Rhode Island.
A moment that Odom wished he could have shared with his mother.
I think she would be proud just to say that her son is in the NBA.
Yet, could a 6'10" forward who was really a guard actually succeed in the NBA? November 2nd, 1999. The Clippers are not only debuting their number 4 pick, but also LA's brand new arena, the Staples Center, and their rookie from New York got to work at christening it straight away.
This is a time where a young player coming in like Lamar Odom, he's saying, hey, this is a measuring stick for me. Can I play against this guy? 6'10", dribbling the basketball, good by people.
However, LA's first failure of the season against Seattle started a horrific trend.
My rookie year, bro, we lost 20 games in a row, about 20.
One that missing a key ingredient which most NBA teams had.
Anthony Murdoch is the oldest guy on that team. He's 31 years old. Some NBA team, that's the average age.
Veterans saw the Clippers, even with Odom scoring 33 points in their last game, finish the season with a horrible 15 win and 67 loss record. No comments please about that. Yet, due to these mishaps, Los Angeles would receive multiple high draft selections, which they would use on high school phenom Darius Miles and dominant freshman collegiate guard Quentin Richardson, but they still faced similar issues to the season before.
Lamar Odom, small forward of the LA Clips, and with a young gun.
Leadership. While the 21-year-old team captain Odom provided some element of guidance to his barely younger than him counterparts,
I used to tell Darius and the younger dudes on my team, like, yo, y'all get to play in front of y'all moms. Like, y'all really lucky.
the other side of LA got to Lamar quickly.
What was it like going to LA, the city?
We got weed and white women, man. You know what I mean? Like,
Distractions, which, despite the Clippers actually improving over the course of the 2000-2001 season, saw Odom face an issue he had yet to battle before.
yeah, I'm New York. You know, I'm gonna bring the whole, even that with that little 2-3 million, yeah, you bring the hood with you. Biggest mistake of my life. But that's what you do.
Surrounded by friends who refused to keep Odom focused, but instead enabled his bad habits.
So I don't even know who to blame, me or like my friends, because I know I wasn't smoking it by myself. I know these motherfuckers know I got a test too. Nobody would be like, yo, L, why don't you chill?
Saw the former fourth pick suspended for drug use. A lack of discipline that, as LA ended Odom's sophomore season with a hugely improved 31 win and 51 loss season, which simply continued.
I let too many summertime, like too many summers go by where basketball was second. Like I said, at that time I didn't have the big brother to be like, yo, come on, let's go get in the gym. You know, I was the oldest one on the team. I just wish I had a different, at that time I would say like a big brother.
But things were only about to get worse.
I'm disappointed with myself for not handling myself correct.
With Lamar being suspended once again, a single 5-game ban away from potentially missing a full season.
If your friends, your family, the people around you don't monitor that as well, then they're not really your friends and your family, the people who smoking with him, because I've never heard anybody smoking marijuana by him.
And Odom facing injury after injury, the Clippers, for the 4th year in a row, failed to appear in the postseason. A tragic fact, which, as LA moved on from players such as Darius Miles in the 2002-2003 season, coupled with Odom's continued injury struggles, began to see many assume that this 6'10" unicorn would never reach his full potential. Yet, there was one man who knew all along how capable the young man from South Jamaica, Queens really was.
Later that summer, Pat Riley made another move, acquiring free agent Lamar Odom.
Lamar Odom is a player we had tried to get for a number of years, and should be remembered amongst the greatest players who've ever played in a Miami Heat uniform.
While head coach Pat Riley stepped down just a month after Odom's arrival to become the team's president, his philosophies began to mold the 24-year-old.
Pat got a system. You gonna defend and be in shape before you do anything else. When I first started to play for Pat Riley, he was the coach still. I thought my name was mother, get your ass on the line. Huh? Wait, it's like you like a pit bull, you on a leash.
And the team's new leader, Stan Van Gundy, simply mirrored Riley's views.
He came into the league very, very young. And so if you look at the mistakes most 18, 19-year-old people make, most of us don't want to be judged on our actions from 18 or 19, but when you're a professional athlete, you are. And so what happened from that is people started really questioning his character, and there were a lot of negative things said about him in LA. And I think what transformed him is coming here to Miami, and a guy with the stature of Pat Riley just had tremendous confidence in him.
With Odom adding 25 pounds to his frame, Lamar was prepared to finally show the world what he was actually capable of. However, shortly after his debut campaign with Miami began, Mildred, Odom's grandmother, the reason why the rising star even wore number 7, tragically passed away. In her honor, Odom's incredible performances, such as dropping a near 30-point triple-double and helping the Heat to win 17 of their final 21 games, saw Lamar prepare to embark on a journey he had yet to go on, the playoffs. But after just sneaking past the pesky Charlotte Hornets in 7 games, the Heat found themselves in a hole that most assumed they couldn't climb out of. Down 2-0 against Reggie Miller, Lamar's childhood friend and NBA Defensive Player of the Year, Ron Artest, and their Indiana Pacers. So, could Miami escape victorious? Or would this be the end of the young Heat squad's season?
It's been said home is where the heart is, and it's certainly been the case for the Heat, which has won 16 straight at home, including all 4 playoff appearances. It's with that success that gives Miami hope as they approach tonight's game.
While the Heat had statistics on their side, they didn't have the refs. With Lamar picking up 2 quick offensive fouls, Miami's rising star was relegated to their bench. But as Odom was unleashed, he quickly got to work.
Rebound by Odom. Odom heads up the floor, Harrington making contact. Odom for the hole!
Lamar's 16 points, which he followed up by top scoring with 22 in Game 4, saw Miami incredibly tie the series at 2 wins each.
You think there's not something to playing at home in the playoffs for the Heat?
However, due to the young Heat's core struggling on the road in Game 5 and Indiana snapping Miami's long-standing home win streak in Game 6, it was ultimately the Pacers moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yet, despite this loss, Pat Riley had not only nailed his 2003 draft choice with Dwayne Wade, but built a solid young core around his rookie star. However, Riley wasn't satisfied with a second-round exit. No, he wanted to be competing for championships.
The major headline around the league tonight, the Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat have agreed to a trade that will send Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest big men of all time, to sunny South Florida.
With Lamar Odom being shifted back to LA with an extra $7 million in his pocket for waiving his no-trade clause, this time to represent the Lakers, he was eager to show the new and improved Odom to Los Angeles fans. But before he would step foot back into Staples Center, he had another dream to tick off, one that deep down Lamar knew he might not actually be able to achieve. Afraid that he would fail the mandatory drug test, thus preventing him from representing Team USA at the 2004 Olympics, Odom did what he felt he had to do.
Well, I guess use a prosthetic penis to pass the drug test?
Yeah, in the past I did. I had to play.
However, this squad, which had an awkward mix of old and young talent, failed to mesh, resulting in Team USA for the first time since 1988 failing to achieve gold and instead leaving Athens as bronze medalists. Devastated from this loss, Lamar returned home to New York, where he would do something nobody had ever seen before on a court.
Look at the defense. The defense is being applied. Oh, baby!
An insane move, which he actually learned from his former teammate.
Well, you know who taught me that move? Darius Miles taught me that move.
To make things even better for Lamar, another lifelong wish would come true.
I'm more of a big brother now. As far as mentoring some of my teammates and being compassionate.
As his arrival into the Lakers facility finally saw him gain a big brother in the NBA, Kobe Bryant.
I learned so much about him, man. So much from him, man. Or just by being a fly on the wall, you know what I'm saying? Watch how somebody carry themselves, you know what I'm saying? In extreme pressure situations.
Mentorship, which saw Odom continue to grow, because Bryant knew just how important his new teammate skill set was. His 6'10" frame saw Lamar be a formidable rebounder, pulling down an average of 10.2 each night, and the skill set he developed on the blacktop courts of New York made the former fourth pick the clear second scoring option next to Kobe. But despite Lamar, thanks to scoring 15.2 points per night, averaging a double-double, his unfortunate March shoulder injury, and the simple fact that the Lakers were fatigued from being at the highest level of the NBA for the past 5 seasons, saw Los Angeles tragically finish as the 11th seed in the Western Conference. Yet, everything was about to change for not only Lamar, but the LA Lakers.
Count me in. The words of Phil Jackson, who announced in a press release Thursday that he will return as coach of the Lakers.
However, while Los Angeles had reintroduced the leader who previously guided them to 3 straight championships in June of 2005, exactly 3 years after his grandmother passed, Odom would receive some devastating news.
And I get a call from his mother. She's panicking like that. I'm like, yo, calm down, what's wrong? She said, Jaden, you gonna wake up? I said, you gonna wake up? I said, yes. She said, the hospital, the ambulance is here. I get there, and they just tell me that he's not responding. He's gone. Somebody gone. Talking about him. I was just seeing him. The hurt on his mother's face, I'll never forget that. That part of me feels some way responsible. I was out all night, and I didn't go home. I lost my son, man. I think the hardest part for me, then when I had to go play basketball, I remember going back to the bench, crying sometimes, in tears. I would think everything probably picked up at that point, even subconsciously.
While the Lakers were now finding some on-court success, returning to the playoffs as the 7th seed and grabbing a massive 3-1 lead against the Phoenix Suns after Kobe hit not 1, but 2.
Bryant for the win!
Game winners, Odom was only diving further into partying, harder drugs, and women.
I ain't really start, extracurricular partying until 2005, 2006.
And what were you doing at that point? What was drug?
Coke.
I never think one hit of cocaine was gonna do that.
Despite Bryant's heroic efforts, the inexperienced Lakers would ultimately blow their massive series lead, and with Odom once again struggling with injuries during the following 2006-2007 season, everything was seemingly heading downhill. In fact, their only superstar would go so far as to request a trade from LA before the 2007-2008 season, citing the franchise's failure to upgrade their roster. So, was this the end of Lamar's basketball career? Could he still perform at the highest shown during his Lakers tenure without Bryant? Or was everything about to turn around for Los Angeles and Odom? Jerry West, a former Lakers legend and now general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies, saw an opportunity to future-proof his own team's roster as well as assist his old club.
Vanished treasure arrives on the shores of Los Angeles. Last little nugget, simply the biggest NBA in-season trade so far this year, as the Lakers acquired talented big man Pau Gasol from the Grizzlies.
Pau Gasol, a big man from Spain, was seemingly the ideal addition to the Lakers' current roster.
I don't really think people understand how good Pau is because he's playing the point guard from the center position. Penetration start from getting the ball in the post, right? That's the deepest penetration you can get. So now you got somebody that got the point guard mentality that's close to the basket.
But still has everything to score it though,
it's
too.
opening everything up.
And this move showed how much LA truly valued Odom.
Obviously the Lakers like him, Odom, because they didn't trade he and Bynum for Jermaine O'Neal.
With their GM, Mitch Kupchak, I've never been able to say this right. So Mitch Kupchak? I'm sorry, Mitch Kupchak, if you ever watched this, and I'm sorry to anyone else, but anyway, I can never get it right. Saying this about their versatile forward.
A lot of people don't know that Lamar Odom is probably the most popular player in our locker room. And that's not because of the way he plays basketball, that's because of who he is.
Despite their rising center, Andrew Bynum, going down in January of 2008 with an injury that resulted in him missing the remainder of their season, Gasol's arrival ignited a resurgence. The Lakers, now atop the Western Conference, set their sights on a goal that was simply out of reach since 2004, the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But did they actually have the roster to do it? June 17th, 2008, NBA Finals, Game 6. Win tonight and force a deciding Game 7. Lose and watch Boston be crowned kings of the NBA. So, how did LA even get here? Well, with standout performances such as Odom's 20-point night on 80% shooting during Game 5 of the Finals, as well as his double-double averages throughout the whole postseason, and Kobe doing Kobe things.
Bryant. Come on, Marv.
The Lakers were now just 2 wins away from their ultimate goal. However, Boston's impeccable defense,
it's the NBA Finals, and we at home. The defense picked up in the first quarter, second quarter, and we ready to win this championship.
which forced Los Angeles into 19 turnovers during Game 6 and a subpar 42% shooting from the field. It was unfortunately the Celtics who emerged victorious from this battle.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
No, we're fine. I think we have to do is continue to work. I mean, that's really the key, is understand that this isn't guaranteed to anybody. I mean, there's people who've gotten here before and never gotten back, so it's important for us to understand that, to work hard, and come back next year ready to go.
Realizing something had to change in order for his squad to get 2 more victories, Phil Jackson met with Lamar and shared his thoughts about a change in his role.
We need this for the team. Be stronger. Come off the bench. Don't give me the whole analytical. I took it as good as I could, though. I took it.
A transition backed up by his big brother.
But I think when I had decided to take that role after him talking to me and pulling me to the side and letting me know how important it was to have a person as good as me in that position with that role and that responsibility, I couldn't say no to it, really. I'm gonna stay around Kobe a little bit more. I'm gonna really follow this dude all the way through and see where it takes us. And I think that's the year I decided to come off the bench.
That Lamar accepted. With the New York native now coming into games as the squad's 6th man, Odom and the Lakers continued to dominate as they attempted to get back to the championship round.
The team that loses in the finals hardly ever gets back. We knew it was gonna be a tough mountain to climb. When we huddle up and we break the huddle, 1, 2, 3 ring.
Combine Lamar's sacrifice with a healthy Andrew Bynum, a full season of chemistry building with Gasol, and outside of a tough 7-game series against Houston, Los Angeles had made it all the way back to the finals. However, with key Celtics forward Kevin Garnett suffering an injury which ruled him out of their postseason, LA wasn't set for a rematch. No, their opponent was none other than the Dwight Howard-led Orlando Magic. So, could Los Angeles actually get it done this time, or were they set for their third finals loss of the decade? Game 2. After their sixth man recorded an important 11-point and 14-rebound night during their initial battle, which saw LA emerge victorious by a 25-point margin, Orlando entered this game hungry to avenge that failure. In fact, with Hedo Turkoglu blocking Bryant as he attempted to place his Lakers ahead, this pivotal matchup was heading into overtime. But thanks to Lamar knocking down 2 super clutch free throws and LA winning overtime 13-8, it was in fact the Lakers leaving Staples Center up 2-0. A result that saw us fans receive perhaps the most iconic Kobe quote of all time.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
However, with Orlando now playing in front of their own fans during Game 3, grabbing a key W, the Lakers desperately needed to steal a victory on the road in Game 4 to avoid the Magic potentially tying the finals. Yet, with LA heading into halftime down by 12 points, perhaps Orlando, although initially doubted, were far more formidable than initially expected. Well, with Kobe Bryant motivated to prove he could win a ring without Shaquille O'Neal's help, and as his team's #1 option, he re-entered the Amway Center and began to take over. Bryant simply wasn't going to be denied, destroying Orlando's defense through scoring or smartly finding his teammates, erasing the Magic's 5-point lead with 1 minute and 36 seconds left in the fourth and leaving Game 4 with a 3-1 series lead. Then, as Game 5 progressed, with Odom stepping up and pouring in 3
Lamar Odom is this good. There's no beating the Lakers.
Crucial threes, and Bryant's incredible.
I've never seen anyone a more complete, more basketball player in person.
30-point night, Los Angeles had finally done it. Lamar Odom was an NBA champion. But one thought remained after their celebrations: revenge. Yet, even if they were capable of getting it, would they even get the opportunity to do so? As the 2009-2010 season preparations began, Los Angeles decided to add Odom's childhood friend.
Champs have done just that. The unique and mercurial Ron Artest, whose skill set makes it all worthwhile. He won't be barking at Kobe Bryant about stopping him next year. They'll be wearing the same jersey. Artest on the move from Houston to Los Angeles, where he makes the world champion Lakers even more formidable.
To help bolster their roster. Then, Lamar, after just 30 days, had fallen in love and married Khloe Kardashian. But it wasn't just Khloe who loved the now one-time champion, as Chris, her mother, would begin to fill the hole that Lamar had in his heart, going so far as to become her son-in-law's manager, and Rob Kardashian became the brother Odom never had growing up. However, as the Lakers were on the road back to repeating, something remained underneath the surface.
A lot of this time I'm like hiding my drug use too, you know?
But somehow, this seemingly didn't impact Lamar Odom's on-the-court play. In fact, thanks to his near double-double averages during the postseason and being the glue which held the Lakers together, Los Angeles had once again found themselves in the championship round. But this time, they got the exact matchup they wanted. Yet, after seemingly taking control of the series after Game 3, everything came crashing down. Boston, hungry to continue their franchise's domination of the Lakers, not only got revenge in Game 4, but emerged victorious from the two clubs' fifth battle. Now down 2-3, LA was in the exact same position as they were during the 2008 finals. So, would the results be the exact same? Or could Los Angeles achieve the impossible and win 2 battles in a row? Game 6. Fueled to not only hold one more ring than his former teammate Shaq, but to place himself that one step closer to sitting at the same table as his idol Michael Jordan, who has 6 championships. Kobe, even with a multitude of injuries, including a broken right hand index finger, which if you look at how Kobe shoots, which is also the exact same way MJ shoots, by pinching his index and thumb together as he releases the ball, kind of insane that he played with a broken right hand index finger and still dominated. still blows my mind, was simply too hungry to let his franchise down. Coupled with Odom's 8 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks off the bench, the Lakers had forced a Game 7. But history wasn't on their side, because in the 4 Game 7 matchups between Boston and LA, the Celtics had won every single time. Yet this unfortunate fact only served as extra fuel to correct the course of history for the Lakers, with Kobe and Powell steering the ship back in the right direction during the second half, and Ron Artest doing this.
He passed me the ball. He never passed me the ball. And he passed me the ball.
Lakers by 6 with a minute to play.
Something unimaginable had happened.
Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers, the 2010 NBA champions.
An epic comeback that not only saw Odom win his second championship ring, but us fans receiving another all-time great press conference moment from the man who hit the game-saving shot.
Hey, people over there on your laptops. Hey, all the way over there on your laptop. Acknowledge me, please.
So, could the Lakers become the first team to three-peat since their last one from 2000 to 2002? Would Kobe be able to sit at the same table as his idol? Or would LA fail to defend their crown during the 2010-2011 season? Lamar Odom, the man who Kobe later referred to in his book, The Mamba Mentality, as the glue of Los Angeles, only further improving his play off the bench, saw the former fourth choice win the NBA's Sixth Man of the Year award.
I won an award while I was filming a reality TV show in the NBA. That ain't gonna ever be done again.
However, this dramatic improvement failed to see Los Angeles achieve their three-peat dreams, with the eventual championship-winning Dallas Mavericks easily sweeping them in the second round. Everything began to go downhill for Lamar Odom.
The Lakers traded forward Lamar Odom and a second-round draft pick to Dallas Sunday night for a first-round pick and an $8.9 million trade exception.
Clearly wasn't a distraction. Played his ass off. I don't get where that comes from.
Is there bitter disappointment on your part?
Now I'm getting pissed off.
But this wasn't the only tragedy in Lamar's offseason.
So I told him, I said, listen, I had a real good situation in LA. I don't really want to come to your team. This is what I'm going through mentally. My closest cousin just got killed.
With the unfortunate passing of his cousin and being involved in a tragic incident as a passenger in a taxi, Odom was truly suffering.
What was Lamar Odom going through at that time?
Probably anxiety. Anxiety's always been real bad for me.
Really?
Resulting in Lamar struggling during his tenure with Dallas, which was only made worse by team owner Mark Cuban's reaction.
First game, I'm playing bad. What the you doing? The owner is yelling at me.
Therefore, the New Yorker spiraled downwards.
Nights when I should have been asleep, stayed up sniffing coke.
Yet, it wasn't just partying and drugs Odom struggled with.
For me realizing I had a drug addiction, like, damn, Lamar, you addicted to sex too.
Which, after facing charges,
Odom has been arrested.
It's been a tough week for him. First came stories about his alleged drug issues and the stress it was putting on his marriage to reality star Khloe Kardashian. Now comes word that the NBA star is facing charges after cops pulled him over on an LA freeway.
And being caught by Khloe with another woman saw the pair divorce. Then, after receiving the notice, Odom headed to Las Vegas, and it was here where he almost lost everything.
Former LA Laker and Khloe Kardashian's ex-husband, Lamar Odom, is rushed to the hospital.
Tonight, Lamar Odom is reportedly fighting for his life, according to the Nye County Sheriff's Department.
I was pronounced dead, I think, twice. 2 times they told my family, say your finals goodbyes, I don't think he's gonna make it tonight.
Somehow, some way, after suffering 6 heart attacks and 12 strokes that night, Lamar Odom had managed to live.
Whatever they slipped me or gave me, the comedian says, and the drug addict in me says, tell me what it was, because that must have been some good to have me down for 3 days. But I didn't do drugs that day.
A severe wake-up call, which saw the now retired NBA player begin to question everything.
It had to be a purpose for me living. That's just scientifically impossible for somebody to have 12 strokes and 6 heart attacks and be living. So I'm like,
must be to give back.
So Lamar would not only go on to get clean and sober, but start to help those who were in similar situations to him however he could.
He's opened 5 wellness treatment centers across the country.
Whether that was opening wellness clinics, aged care homes in honor of the great woman who raised him after his mother's passing, or writing an open and honest book about his struggles.
I get more gratification in people coming up to me telling me that they read the book and it got him out of a dark place.
Odom's newfound purpose in life was clear, helping people who were or are suffering just like he was.
We're all affected by the same struggles, strifes, and pains of the world.
Also, did you know that Lamar Odom wasn't the only NBA player who somehow lived a double life? Because Dennis Rodman, whose story almost mirrors that of Lamar's, also managed to win 5 NBA championships while spending almost every single night partying, flying to Vegas, and dating celebrities such as Madonna. So, to learn more about how Rodman even became like this in the first place, because he wasn't always actually like this, and how he managed to become so great despite staying up until the early hours of the morning on NBA final game days, click the video on your screen right now.